Sup, bitches? Hello. Hello. Well, I have been doing a lot of reading the last couple days, and I wanted to talk to you about two books. The first book is Tarzan of the Apes, and the second book is The Return of Tarzan, both by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Let's take a look at that artwork there. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Now, if you remember, this isn't the copy of Tarzan I read. I read the older Ballantine copy of it. But for those of you who are into star rankings on Goodreads, the first Tarzan book I gave 3 stars to. It was good, but it just was so slow getting going. And then halfway through, maybe a little over halfway through, it got really freaking good. And like most Edgar Rice Burroughs books, it ended amazingly, and you're like, fucking hell. Like, really? Like, really? So, and if you don't know what it's about, a dude and his wife go to some place in Africa to live or whatever, and she's pregnant. She has a baby. A bunch of apes come and kill the parents, and as the apes are there, one of the apes has a dead baby ape in her arms because her baby just died, and she was all upset about it. And she looked in the crib and there was a baby. So she put the dead gorilla baby in the crib and took the human baby. And then he grows up, raised by apes, and some people come, like some English people come looking for gold, and he falls in love with Jane. Craziness ensues. But yeah, it's pretty much, if you know anything about Tarzan, it's pretty much the exact story that you think it's going to be. I did like how he learned to write from the books that his dad had, but couldn't speak the language. That was actually a cool little bit. But then, The Return of Tarzan, I started and I was like, oh my god, is this going to be worse than the start of the last one? Because, without giving too many spoilers, he's in France when this starts, I believe, is where he's at. And he's like trying to be civilized and all that shit. And then it turns out some crazy shit ensues. There's a great villain that shows up. And what I really liked about this is that Tarzan had his story going this way, and then Jane had her story going this way, and it went, whoa, like really, really far away before it came back together. And the way it was done was just perfect. Everything about it had so much. There was so much like built up at the beginning that you didn't really know why was there. And then as the story goes, it just gets bigger and bigger. There were a lot of locations. But The Return of Tarzan I gave 5 stars to. Just as a story, as a book, it was a lot better than the original. And the end of this kind of like it's almost like these could be like one book, I think. Like if you were just to like have it like this, if Stephen King wrote it, it would be one book. Okay. But yeah, the Return of Tarzan was so fucking good. Like color me purple and tie me to a frickin' refrigerator. I had absolutely no idea that that was going to be that good. I was seriously like really after reading Tarzan, even though the ending was good, I was like, fuck, do I really want to read another one of these? But because the ending ended the way it did, I had to immediately go into the next book. And I'm really glad I did. So there's that. Should I go into. Yeah, we're only at 5 minutes. I'll go ahead. I also read the fourth book in the Barsoom Martian Tales of Edgar Rice Burroughs, Thuvia Made of Mars. Now, hello. I've had this for a while now, and it's a pretty nice cover. And it was only this morning that I realized there was some dead guy at the bottom next to the Barsoomian lion. And the whole time, I never pictured Thuvia like that. I pictured her much more plain. But, ooh la la. Then there's a little castle thing. Now, this book, I really didn't think was quite good. Oh, stop it. Sorry. I'm getting Facebooked over here. But seriously, Thuvia Made of Mars, the fourth book in the Barsoom series, to me was such a letdown compared to the first three books. One, it's because it's not about John Carter, it's about his son, Cartheus. Carthoris. Why do I always you okay, here's what's really bad. Okay, and I'm sure poor little Edgar Rice Burroughs didn't think of this. Whenever I see the word Cathoris, what word do you think I automatically think of? Clitoris. That's exactly right. So the whole time I'm reading this, I have to keep going like Cathars. Try to say something else so I'm not saying, oh yeah. Then next thing I know, Clitoris runs up and punches somebody. So it's. I can't even do it. I keep saying it. Anyway, and the chick he digs is Thuvia, who is the daughter of another red people kingdom. So she's like a princess as well. And Cathoris is in love with her, but she's been promised to another dude. That dog. But anyway, so the story is she gets kidnapped, and for some fucking reason, they think Clitoris kidnapped her. I'm just gonna call him Clitoris from now on because I can't. Like, there's times where I feel like I'm getting old, and then there's other times when I feel like I'm like a dirty 14-year-old boy. So, yeah. So anyway, John Carter is like, yeah, Clitoris, my son, you have to go find her and fix this because if you don't, there's gonna be like World War Barsoom here. Can you quit barking at people walking their dogs? No one likes it. Say hi to everybody. Hi to everybody. Look, look right. So I can't remember what I was saying right there, but if you missed it, my dog stopped the fucking camera. Okay, so just to finish up, um, a couple of the things that I guess as the Barsoomian books go, um, it's more about John Carter's lineage than anything else. Crap, I don't know what I talked about. I don't know if I talked about the Bowmen or not, but the Bowmen are people who exist in the minds of this other white race, and they could make them like people fighting off an army. And as long as they're thinking about them, they're actually real and have real people, emotions, and thoughts and stuff. And the Bowmen themselves were so fucking cool. It was such a cool idea. I really like that. I'm bummed out that Tars Tarkus and his whole race and clan or whatever aren't really in the rest of the books either. I think Warlord of Mars was the last book that actually mentioned him from everything that I've looked up. So that's really upsetting. The next book is The Chessmen of Mars, and the and I think it's about John Carter's daughter. But the alien race that they come across in that, just to give you a heads up, they're like these crab people who have these headless humans that they use as like horses and stuff. So they just kind of climb on top of the humans and like sit on their open neck. And then so they have like a big crab head with like crab claws, and they like ride the headless humans around, and that just sounds awesome. And then there's a big game of chess with like human pieces or Barsoomian pieces. So that sounds like that's going to be a little more exciting, and having it being told from the daughter's point of view, um, we might have a book that's not such a I am a prince, you are a princess. Princess gets kidnapped. Prince must find princess. Kind of book. Yeah, so that's that. I'm also reading The Blood and Thunder Guide to Pulp Fiction. I got this for Christmas a couple years ago and just kind of dipped through it when I got it. But I'm been really. It's so funny because like I don't really do any of the things that I'm supposed to do. So like this whole nonfiction November, like I've been like going through like, and I haven't been. Oh, I'm gonna do nonfiction November. It's been like, oh, I have that book. I can finish Paperbacks from Hell. I have that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang book I've been wanting to read. Um, and then I just have like a bunch of movies on like film and video games and stuff like that that I've had that are more like almost like coffee table books but have a lot of stuff in it that I just like kind of flip through whenever I feel like it. But now I'm like really wanting to read it, and then I have that Batman encyclopedia. That'd be so much fun. And here I am talking about this, and there's only like 10 days left in the month. But so I'm really digging that. I started reading The Insidious Fu Manchu, which is also known as The Mysterious Fu Manchu Outside of America. And that book I have started like 8 freaking times, and I always end up reading something different. So what I decided to do I was reading it, and then for some reason, I immediately wanted to read a Conan book. So I just started reading some Conan short stories. Um, I was in Red Nails last I checked, and yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff I want to read, but I'm also putting a bunch of my writing together and stuff. I feel like we're having like a total catch up right now. But if you go to my new blog, mattwallwrites.com, I have finally walked away from all my pen names, and you know what? I'm gonna do a different video about that because that's kind of deep, and I want to like have a cup of Joe and talk to my friends and tell you all about it. So that's that. Out of the 3 books I finished in the last 24 hours, by far, Return of Tarzan, hands freaking down, was the best book. Oh, and you know that shit I say about Edgar Rice Burroughs writing a great ending? Thuvia, Made of Mars, phoned it in. And because it was like 1913 or whatever, he probably had to like do a crank and say, "Yes, Ada, can you please get me?" So it was like such a phoned in happy ending. It was like, but anyway, I definitely, especially if you like a tinge of romance with your action, maybe even a little more than a tinge, you have to read Return of Tarzan. You have to. But you cannot read this book unless you read. Oh shit, I was going backwards. It doesn't matter. They're in the wrong hand. So, Return of Tarzan is by far the better book, but you have to read Tarzan of the Apes before you read this, or a lot of the. Such a dick. A lot of the payoffs won't make sense to you. So, that is my Shalagua, yeah, if you will. And I'll do another video here in a bit. So I miss you all. Bye.